It was his own room. There was no doubt about that. But it had undergone a surprising transformation. The walls and ceiling were so hung with living green that it looked a perfect grove, from every part of which bright gleaming berries glistened. The crisp leaves of holly, mistletoe, and ivy reflected back the light, as if so many little mirrors had been scattered there, and such a mighty blaze went roaring up the chimney as that dull petrification of a hearth had never known in Scrooge's time, or Marley's, or for many and many a winter season gone. Heaped up on the floor to form a kind of throne, were cherry-cheeked apples, juicy oranges, luscious pears, immense twelfth cakes, and seething bowls of punch that made the chamber dim with their delicious steam. In easy state upon this couch there sat a jolly giant, glorious to see, who bore a glowing torch, in shape not unlike Plenty's horn, and held it up, high up, to shed its light on Scrooge as he came peeping round the door. "Come in!" exclaimed the ghost. "Come in and know me better, man!" Scrooge entered timidly and hung his head before this spirit. He was not the dogged Scrooge he had been, and though the spirit's eyes were clear and kind, he did not like to meet them. "I am the ghost of Christmas Present," said the spirit. "Look upon me." Scrooge reverently did so. It was clothed in one simple green robe or mantle bordered with white fur. This garment hung so loosely on the figure that its capacious breast was bare, as if disdaining to be warded or concealed by any artifice. Its feet, observable beneath the ample folds of the garment, were also bare, and on its head it wore no other covering than a holly wreath, set here and there with shining icicles. Its dark brown curls were long and free as its genial face, its sparkling eye, its open hand, its cheery voice, its unconstrained demeanour, and its joyful air. Girded round its middle was an antique scabbard, but no sword was in it, and the ancient sheath was eaten up by rust. "You have never seen the like of me before?" exclaimed the spirit. "Never," Scrooge made answer to it. "Have never walked forth with the younger members of my family, meaning, for I am very young, my elder brothers born in these later years?" pursued the phantom. "I don't think I have," said Scrooge. "I am afraid I have not. Have you had many brothers, spirit?" "More than 1,800, said the ghost. "A tremendous family to provide for," muttered Scrooge. The ghost of Christmas Present rose. "Spirit," said Scrooge submissively, "conduct me where you will. I went forth last night on compulsion, and I learned a lesson which is working now. Tonight, if you have aught to teach me, let me profit by it." "Touch my robe." Scrooge did as he was told, and held it fast. Holly, mistletoe, red berries, ivy, game, poultry, brawn, sausages, oysters, pies, pudding, fruit, and punch all vanished instantly. So did the room, the fire, the ruddy glow, the hour of night. And they stood in the city streets on a Christmas morning, where, for the weather was severe, the people made a rough but brisk and not unpleasant kind of music in scraping the snow from the pavement in front of their dwellings, and from the tops of the houses, whence it was mad delight to the boys to see it come plumping down into the road below and splitting into artificial little snowstorms.
Nichts, Mama. Wirklich nichts? Nein, wirklich nichts. Ganz im Ernste. Wenn es aber am Ende doch was sein sollte, nun, so müsste es ein japanischer Bettschirm sein, schwarz und goldene Vögel drauf, alle mit einem langen Kranichschnabel und dann vielleicht auch noch eine Ampel für unser Schlafzimmer mit rotem Schein.
Frau von Briest schwieg.
Nun siehst du, Mama, du schweigst und siehst aus, als ob ich etwas Unpassendes gesagt hätte. Nein, Effi, nichts Unpassendes. Und vor deiner Mutter schon gewiss nicht, denn ich kenne dich ja. Du bist eine fantastische kleine Person, malst dir mit Vorliebe Zukunftsbilder aus, und je farbenreicher sie sind, desto schöner und begehrlicher erscheinen sie dir. Ich sah das so recht, als wir die Reisesachen kauften. Und nun denkst du dir es ganz wundervoll, einen Bettschirm mit allerhand fabelhaftem Getier zu haben, alles im Halblicht einer roten Ampel. Es kommt dir vor wie ein Märchen, und du möchtest eine Prinzessin sein.
Effi nahm die Hand der Mama und küsste sie.
Ja, Mama. So bin ich. Ja, so bist du. Ich weiß es wohl. Aber meine liebe Effi, wir müssen vorsichtig im Leben sein, und zumal wir Frauen. Und wenn du nach Kessin kommst, einem kleinen Ort, wo nachts kaum eine Laterne brennt, so lacht man über dergleichen. Und wenn man bloß lachte, die dir ungewogen sind, und solche gibt es immer, sprechen von schlechter Erziehung, und manche sagen wohl noch Schlimmeres. Also nichts Japanisches und auch keine Ampel. Aber ich bekenne dir, ich hatte es mir so schön und poetisch gedacht, alles in einem roten Schimmer zu sehen.
Frau von Briest war bewegt. Sie stand auf und küsste Effi.
Du bist ein Kind, schön und poetisch. Das sind so Vorstellungen. Die Wirklichkeit ist anders, und oft ist es gut, dass es statt Licht und Schimmer ein Dunkel gibt.
I had shut the door too. Then I turned around, and there he was. I used to be scared of him all the time, he tanned me so much. I reckoned I was scared now too, but in a minute I see I was mistaken. That is, after the first jolt, as you may say, when my breath sort of hitched, he being so unexpected. But right after, I see I weren't scared of him worth bothering about. He was most 50, and he looked it. His hair was long and tangled and greasy and hung down, and you could see his eyes shining through like he was behind vines. It was all black, no grey, so was his long mixed-up whiskers. There weren't no colour in his face, where his face showed. It was white. Not like another man's white, but a white to make a body sick, a white to make a body's flesh crawl, a tree-toad white, a fish-belly white. As for his clothes, just rags, that was all. He had one ankle resting on the other knee. The boot on that foot was busted, and two of his toes stuck through, and he worked them now and then. His hat was laying on the floor, an old black slouch with a top caved in like a lid. I stood, a-looking at him. He sat there, a-looking at me, with his chair tilted back a little. I set the candle down. I noticed the window was up, so he had clumb in by the shed. He kept a-looking me all over. By and by, he says, "Start your clothes." "Very. You think you're a good deal of a big buck, don't you?" "Maybe I am, maybe I ain't," I says. "Don't you give me none of your lip," says he. "You put on a considerable many frills since I've been away. I'll take you down a peg before I get done with you. You're educated too, they say. Can read and write. You think you're better than your father, you know. Don't you? Because he can't, I'll take it out of you. Who told you you might meddle with such hifalutin foolishness, hey? Who told you you could?" "The widow, she told me." "The widow, hey? And who told the widow she could put in a shovel about a thing that ain't none of her business?" "Nobody ever told her." "Well, I'll learn her how to meddle. And look at here, you drop that school. You hear? I learn people to bring up a boy to put on airs over his own father, and that on to be better than what he is. You let me catch you fooling around that school again, you hear? Your mother couldn't read, and she couldn't write, neither, before she died. None of the family couldn't. Before they died, I can. And here, you're swelling yourself up like this. I ain't the man to stand it. You hear? Say, let me hear you read." I took up a book and begun something about General Washington and the wars. When I'd read about half a minute, he fetched the book a whack with his head and knocked it across the house. He says, "So, you can do it. I had my doubts when you told me. Now look here. You stop that putting on frills. I won't have it. I'll lay for you, my smarty. And if I catch you about that school, I'll tan you good. First, you know you get religion, too. I never see such a son." He took up a little blue and yellow picture of some cows and a boy and says, "What's this?" It's something they give me for learning my lessons good." He tore it up and says, "I'll give you something better. I'll give you a cowhide. I'll give you..." He sat there, a mumbling and a growling a minute, and then he says, "Ain't you a sweet-scented dandy, though? A bed and bedclothes and a looking-glass and a piece of carpet on the floor, and your own father got to sleep with the hogs in the tan yard. I never see such a son. I bet I'll take some of these frills out of you before I'm done with you. Why, there ain't no end to your heirs. They say you're rich. Hey, how's that?" "They lie. That's how." Look at here. Mind you, talk to me. I'm a-standing about all I can stand now. So you don't give me no sass. I've been in town 2 days, and I ain't heard nothing about you, but about you being rich. I heard about it away down the river, too. That's why I come. You get me that money tomorrow. I want it."
Er war jetzt zu ihr unter die Decke gekrochen. Die Unterhosen hatte er anbehalten.
"Nicht mal genug Platz zum Schlafen hat man."
Er reckte und dehnte sich.
"So ein Hundeleben. Nicht einmal schlafen kann man."
Er hatte sich auf die andere Seite gewälzt. Die Decke von ihrer Schulter hatte er mit sich gedreht. Sie lag jetzt fast bloß da. Das Nachtlämpchen auf dem Tisch hatte jetzt zu zittern aufgehört. Die beschlagene, blaue Karaffe davor war von unzähligen Lichtpunkten übersät. Eine Seite aus dem Buch hatte sich schräg gegen das Glas aufgeblättert. Mitten auf dem vergilbten Papier hob sich deutlich die fette Schrift ab: Ein Sommernachtstraum. Hinten auf der Wand übers Sofa weg warf die kleine, glitzernde Fotografie ihren schwarzen, rechteckigen Schatten. Der kleine Fortinbras röchelte. Nebenan hatte es wieder zu schnarchen angefangen. So ein Leben. So ein Leben. Er hatte sich wieder zu ihr gedreht. Seine Stimme klang jetzt weich, weinerlich. Du sagst ja gar nichts. Sie schluchzte nur wieder. Ach Gott, ja. So ein... Er hatte sich jetzt noch mehr auf die Kante zugerückt. Ist ja noch Platz da. Was drückst du dich denn so an die Wand? Hast du ja gar nicht nötig. Sie schüttelte sich. Ein fader Schnapsgeruch hatte sich allmählich über das ganze Bettchen verbreitet. So ein Leben. Man hat's wirklich weit gebracht. Nur sich noch von so einer alten Hexe rausschmeißen lassen. Reizend. Und nur, was macht man nun? Liegt man morgen auf der Straße? Du sag doch. Er war jetzt wieder auf sie zugerückt. Du sag doch, man kann doch nicht so verhungern. Er lag jetzt dicht hinter ihr. Ich kann ja auch nicht dafür. Ich bin ja gar nicht so. Ist auch wahr. Man wird ganz zum Vieh bei solchem Leben. Du schläfst doch nicht schon. Sie hustete. Ach Gott, ja. Und du bist auch noch krank. Und das Kind, dies viele Nähen. Aber du schonst dich ja auch gar nicht. Ich sag's ja. Er hatte jetzt ebenfalls zu weinen begonnen. Ach Gott. Ach Gott. Sein Gesicht lag jetzt mitten auf ihrer Brust. Sie zuckte. Ach Gott. Ach Gott. Das Gespenst hat nicht Unrecht. Man soll seine Würde nicht außer Acht lassen. Unter Moral verstehe ich das reelle Produkt zweier imaginärer Größen. Die imaginären Größen sind sollen und wollen. Das Produkt heißt Moral und lässt sich in seiner Realität nicht leugnen. Hätten Sie mir das doch vorher gesagt. Meine Moral hat mich in den Tod gejagt. Um meiner lieben Eltern willen griff ich zum Mordgewehr. Ehre Vater und Mutter, auf dass du lange lebest. An mir hat sich die Schrift phänomenal blamiert. Geben Sie sich keinen Illusionen hin, lieber Freund. Ihre lieben Eltern wären so wenig daran gestorben wie Sie. Rigoros beurteilt würden Sie ja lediglich aus gesundheitlichem Bedürfnis getobt und gewettert haben. Das mag soweit ganz richtig sein. Ich kann Ihnen aber mit Bestimmtheit sagen, mein Herr, dass, wenn ich Moritz vorhin ohne weiteres die Hand gereicht hätte, einzig und allein meine Moral die Schuld trüge. Dafür bist du eben nicht Moritz. Ich glaube doch nicht, dass der Unterschied so wesentlich ist. zum Mindesten nicht so zwingend, dass Sie nicht auch mir zufällig hätten begegnen dürfen, verehrter Unbekannter, als ich damals das Pistol in der Tasche durch die Erlenpflanzungen trabte.
Erinnern Sie sich meiner denn nicht? Sie standen doch wahrlich auch im letzten Augenblick noch zwischen Tod und Leben. Übrigens ist hier meines Erachtens doch wohl nicht ganz der Ort, eine so tiefgreifende Debatte in die Länge zu ziehen.
Gewiss, es wird kühl, meine Herren. Man hat mir zwar meinen Sonntagsanzug angezogen, aber ich trage weder Hemd noch Unterhosen. Leb wohl, lieber Moritz, wo dieser Mensch mich hinführt, weiß ich nicht. Aber er ist ein Mensch. Lass mich's nicht entgelten, Melchior, dass ich dich umzubringen suchte. Es war alte Anhänglichkeit. Zeitlebens wollte ich nur klagen und jammern dürfen, wenn ich dich nun noch einmal hinaus begleiten könnte.
Schließlich hat jeder sein Teil. Sie das beruhigende Bewusstsein, nichts zu haben, du den enervierenden Zweifel an allem. Leben Sie wohl.
It was 7 o'clock of a very warm evening in the Seone hills when Father Wolf woke up from his day's rest, scratched himself,
Yawned and spread out his paws one after the other to get rid of the sleepy feeling in the tips.
Mother Wolf lay with her big grey nose dropped across her 4 tumbling, squealing cubs, and the moon shone into the mouth of the cave where they all lived.
"Ah," said Father Wolf. "It is time to hunt again."
And he was going to spring downhill when a little shadow with a bushy tail crossed the threshold and whined,
"Good luck go with you, O chief of the wolves, and good luck and strong white teeth go with the noble children, that they may never forget the hungry in this world."
It was the jackal, Tabaki, the dish licker, and the wolves of India despise Tabaki because he runs about making mischief and telling tales and eating rags and pieces of leather from the village rubbish heaps. They are afraid of him too, because Tabaki, more than anyone else in the jungle, is apt to go mad. And then he forgets that he was ever afraid of anyone and runs through the forest, biting everything in his way. Even the tiger hides when little Tabaki goes mad, for madness is the most disgraceful thing that can overtake a wild creature. We call it hydrophobia, but they call it dewani, the madness, and run.
"Enter then, and look," said Father Wolf stiffly.
"But there is no food here."
"For a wolf, no," said Tabaki. "But for so mean a person as myself, a dry bone is a good feast. Who are we, the Gudurlong, to pick and choose?"
He scuttled to the back of the cave, where he found the bone of a buck with some meat on it, and sat cracking the end merrily.
"Thanks for this good meal," he said, licking his lips. "How beautiful are the noble children! How large their eyes, and so young too! Indeed, indeed, I might have remembered that the children of kings are men from the beginning."
Now, Tabaki knew as well as anyone else that there is nothing so unlucky as to compliment children to their faces, and it pleased him to see Mother and Father Wolf look uncomfortable. Tabaki sat still, rejoicing in the mischief that he had made, and then he said spitefully,
Shere Khan, the big one, has shifted his hunting grounds. He will hunt among these hills during the next moon, as he has told me.
Shere Khan was the tiger who lived near the Waingunga River, 20 miles away. He has no right, Father Wolf began angrily. By the law of the jungle, he has no right to change his quarters without fair warning. He will frighten every head of game within 10 miles, and I have to kill for 2 these days.
His mother did not call him Lungri, the lame one, for nothing, said Mother Wolf quietly. He has been lame in 1 foot from his birth. That is why he has killed only cattle. Now the villagers of the Waingunga are angry with him, and he has come here to make our villagers angry. They will scour the jungle for him when he is far away, and we and our children must run when the grass is set alight. Indeed, we are very grateful to Shere Khan.
Shall I tell him of your gratitude? Said Tabaki.
Out! Snapped Father Wolf. Out! And hunt with thy master! Thou hast done harm enough for 1 night.
I go, said Tabaki quietly. You can hear Shere Khan below in the thickets. I might have saved myself the message.
Father Wolf listened, and in the dark valley that ran down to a little river, he heard the dry, angry, snarly, sing-song whine of a tiger who has caught nothing and does not care if all the jungle knows it. The fool, said Father Wolf, to begin at a night's work with that noise? Does he think that our buck are like his fat Waingunga bullocks?
Shh! It is neither bullock nor buck that he hunts tonight, said Mother Wolf. It is man.
The whine had changed to a sort of humming purr that seemed to roll from every quarter of the compass. It was the noise that bewilders woodcutters and gypsies sleeping in the open and makes them run sometimes into the very mouth of the tiger. Man, said Father Wolf, showing all his white teeth. Are there not enough beetles and frogs in the tanks that he must eat man? And on our ground too. The law of the jungle, which never orders anything without a reason, forbids every beast to eat man, except when he is killing to show his children how to kill. And then he must hunt outside the hunting grounds of his pack or tribe. The real reason for this is that man-killing means, sooner or later, the arrival of white men on elephants with guns and hundreds of brown men with gongs and rockets and torches. Then everybody in the jungle suffers. The reason the beasts give among themselves is that man is the weakest and most defenseless of all living things, and it is unsportsmanlike to touch him. They say too, and it is true, that man-eaters become mangy and lose their teeth. The purr grew louder and ended in the full-throated "Arr!" of the tiger's charge. Then there was a howl, an untigerish howl, from Shere Khan.
He has missed, said Mother Wolf.
What is it? Father Wolf ran out a few paces and heard Shere Khan muttering and mumbling savagely as he tumbled about in the scrub. The fool has had no more sense than to jump at a woodcutter's campfire, so he has burned his feet, said Father Wolf with a grunt. Tabaki is with him.
Something is coming uphill, said Mother Wolf, twitching one ear. Get ready.
The bushes rustled a little in the thicket, and Father Wolf dropped with his haunches under him, ready for his leap. Then, if you had been watching, you would have seen the most wonderful thing in the world. The wolf checked in mid-spring. He made his bound before he saw what it was he was jumping at, and then he tried to stop himself. The result was that he shot up straight into the air, 4 or 5 feet, landing almost where he left ground. "Man!" he snapped. "A man's cub! Look!" Directly in front of him, holding on by a low branch, stood a naked brown baby who could just walk. As soft and as dimpled a little thing as ever came to a wolf's cave at night. He looked up into Father Wolf's face and laughed. "Is that a man's cub?" said Mother Wolf. "I have never seen one. Bring it here." A wolf, accustomed to moving his own cubs, can, if necessary, mouth an egg without breaking it, and though Father Wolf's jaws closed right on the child's back, not a tooth even scratched the skin as he laid it down among the cubs. "How little, how naked, and how bold," said Mother Wolf softly. The baby was pushing his way between the cubs to get close to the warm hide. "Ahai! He is taking his meal with the others. And so this is a man's cub. Now was there ever a wolf that could boast of a man's cub among her children?" "I have heard now and again of such a thing, but never in our pack or in my time," said Father Wolf. "He is altogether without hair, and I could kill him with a touch of my foot. But see, he looks up and is not afraid." The moonlight was blocked out of the mouth of the cave, for Shere Khan's great square head and shoulders were thrust into the entrance. Tabaki, behind him, was squeaking,
My lord, it went in here."
"Shere Khan does us great honor," said Father Wolf, but his eyes were very angry. "What does Shere Khan need?"
"My quarry. A man's cub went this way," said Shere Khan. "Its parents have run off. Give it to me."
Shere Khan had jumped at a woodcutter's campfire, as Father Wolf had said, and was furious from the pain of his burned feet. But Father Wolf knew that the mouth of the cave was too narrow for a tiger to come in by. Even where he was, Shere Khan's shoulders and forepaws were cramped for want of room, as a man's would be if he tried to fight in a barrel. "The wolves are a free people," said Father Wolf. "They take orders from the head of the pack, and not from any striped cattle killer. This man's cub is ours, to kill if we choose."
"You choose and you do not choose. What talk is this of choosing? By the bull that I killed, am I to stand nosing into your dog's den for my fair dues? It is I, Shere Khan, who speak."
The tiger's roar filled the cave with thunder. Mother Wolf shook herself clear of the cubs and sprang forward, her eyes like 2 green moons in the darkness, facing the blazing eyes of Shere Khan. "And it is I, Raksha, who answer. The man's cub is mine, Lungri, mine to me. He shall not be killed. He shall live to run with the pack
and to hunt with a pack. And in the end, look, you hunter of little naked cubs, frog eater, fish killer, he shall hunt thee. Now get hence, or by the Samhur that I killed, I eat no starved cattle. Back thou goest to thy mother, burned beast of the jungle, lamer than ever thou camest into the world.
Go!
Der Gott der Stadt von Georg Heim. Auf einem Häuserblocke sitzt er breit, die Winde lagern schwarz um seine Stirn. Er schaut voll Wut, wo fern in Einsamkeit die letzten Häuser in das Land verirren. Vom Abend glänzt der rote Bauch dem Baal, die großen Städte knien um ihn her. Der Kirchenglocken ungeheure Zahl wogt auf zu ihm aus schwarzer Türme Meer. Wie Korybantentanz dröhnt die Musik der Millionen durch die Straßen laut. Der schlote Rauch, die Wolken der Fabrik ziehen auf zu ihm wie Duft von Weihrauch blaut. Das Wetter schwelt in seinen Augenbrauen, der dunkle Abend wird in Nacht betäubt. Die Stürme flattern, die wie Geier schauen, von seinem Haupthaar, das im Zorne sträubt. Er steckt ins Dunkel seine Fleischerfaust. Er schüttelt sie. Ein Meer von Feuer jagt durch eine Straße, und der Glutqualm braust und frisst sie auf, bis spät der Morgen tagt.